Hello and welcome to today's video on high altitude investing. My name is Dallin Anderson and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a chart that will definitely change your life. As soon as I saw this, I knew that I had to make a video today. Even though normally I'm doing my podcast today, we're going to be doing the podcast, but I had to keep you guys updated and posted with the stock market and with Bitcoin because what I'm seeing right now is definitely something that changed my perspective on everything that has happened recently and is going to change yours as well. Make sure that you guys hit that like button as well as the subscribe button because I'm dedicated to posting 5 videos weekly all through 2020 on the cryptocurrency markets. As you can see, sometimes I do a little extra update along with that though. Also follow me on Twitter because I've been getting a lot of followers on here and I regularly post even when I'm not posting on my YouTube channels. You guys can find content on my Twitter regularly. So make sure that you guys share this video and watch clear to the very end because this stock chart and this Bitcoin chart is going to blow your mind. Okay, so this is the S&P 500 on the 2-month candlesticks. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this chart is because I see an opportunity and the potential for us to make a very, very large recovery in this market. Not only a recovery, but a new all-time high that will completely blow everybody away and make them question everything they knew. Because here's the thing, right now everybody is bearish on the S&P 500 and bearish on the US stock market. And listen, I actually in this candlestick saw a correction and a potential for a very large correction. And that is still very possible, but I do not think that that's what is going to happen here. I have a new primary prediction for the stock market. Everybody is bearish. I've never seen this many people in my life calling for a Great Depression. And like I said, I was one of those people. But this changed everything for me. As soon as I saw this comparison, I knew that I had made a mistake and that I was potentially very wrong about the stock market and indices in general. This is Ethereum in its last cycle. Now, what's very interesting about Ethereum is we saw a same market structure that we see in the S&P 500 right now. We had a first sell-off. And then we had another sell-off inside of the first sell-off. We then saw a little bounce, and then we made an impulse wave, created some resistance, made another impulse wave, had these huge rejection wicks on the top of the market. We fell all the way back down to that support level, which, by the way, ended up being about 42%, I believe. Let me see. About 42% drop from the peak to the low. And from where it broke out of resistance up to where it rejected was about 107% up. Now let's look at the S&P 500. Let's look at this. Okay, we see a 108% rise. So this is very, very similar. And then we see a rejection that happens right after 108% rise. Now we fell about 33%. Why is that important? Because it's important. We need to drop a little bit further here. We have not fully tested this support level. So I do expect us to probably drop a little further still, even so, with the stock market. But I do think this was a major shakeout. I think it was a shakeout in the same way that 2003 was a bear trap, in the same way that 2008 was a bear trap. I do believe the S&P 500 will go ahead and recover and see upward trending movement after that before it does a big cycle. Now, it will definitely do a Great Depression correction. There is no way that we can run from that because the market will become overextended and will need to correct very significantly in the same way that Ethereum did so. Now, I just think that we're going to be extended out further, probably another 8 years. The stock market sees a recession every 8 to 10 years. We saw a recession in 2003, then we saw a recession in 2008, then we saw this is basically a mini recession. And this is 2020. So I wouldn't be surprised if 2030 or 2028 or somewhere in the future, we have the beginning of a bigger correction. I'm not going to try to project exactly what year that is, but based on a cyclical nature, that's what we've seen in the past. Now, if it does what Ethereum did, if you go from this peak low to this peak high, with the Fibonacci extension tool, the trend-based Fibonacci extension tool, you can find that the 1618 is where the rejection happened, this circle that we're in right now, that I've drawn right there. And that is very, very interesting to me because we can also, because the Fibonacci relations are the same, we can see in Ethereum and the S&P 500 that there's a potential for it to go to the same area before it peaks out. And if it does that, Ethereum peaked out at the 288. So that was a little bit above the 288 Fibonacci extension, but that was around $1,400 per Ethereum. If the S&P 500 does that same thing, we can take the Fibonacci trend-based tool and we can go from the low to the peak and back down to that low. And you can see that that would put the S&P 500 at and around 5,000 per index per share. And so that is very, very interesting to me that we're seeing the same Fibonacci relations, the same percentages up, the same percentages down. And this reminds me of when I saw somebody comparing Litecoin to Qualcomm at the top of the market, and he had all of the percentages drawn out and was showing that the fractal, the comparison of the market cycle, were all the same percentages up and down. And so because of that, I see that this has a lot of validity and is probably a very, very strong and good fractal comparison because they have the same percentages as the Ethereum fractal. So I know that might blow some people's minds. It blew mine as soon as I saw that. And this does mean that we have a very large opportunity in the stock market. Now, how will that affect Bitcoin? I think this is going to be good for Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin has proven that even though there has been days where the stock market recently has fell, Bitcoin was going up. I think that overall Bitcoin will show strength if the stock market falls or it goes up. Bitcoin kind of does its own thing. And for me, if the stock market keeps going up, I think that Bitcoin will follow along with it, not because they're 100% correlated all of the time, but because there's going to be strength in the world and in the world economy, and that will probably reflect in the Bitcoin price as well. This market cycle, this comparison is definitely something I'm excited about. This gives us a lot of opportunity to make money, have a good bullish economic cycle before the big correction comes. There will be a big correction. It will be brutal. We definitely want to plan for it, but I do believe that we're all given another opportunity and more time to do so. I know there's so much panic in the world right now, but it's easy in times like this to let all of the panic and the narrative on the news conform and create your perspective on reality, when really the charts tell you something completely different, and today the charts are telling me something completely different. I also wanted to share with you guys how Bitcoin SV, this is Bitcoin upside down, it's inverted by the way, so this is actually when Bitcoin dumped to 4,000 up here at the top, and this is a $9,000 Bitcoin down here at this low. But if you look at Bitcoin inverted and you compare it to Bitcoin SV before it dumped, and when I was drawing that ABC correction on Bitcoin SV and then it proceeded to go to the lower channel, go a little bit further down, it actually looks like a very similar market structure. So I'm seeing strength in Bitcoin from this comparison as well. So the stock market looks like Ethereum. You can totally compare these fractals. Market cycles and fractals rhyme in all time frames, so it doesn't matter if you're comparing Ethereum to the stock market or if you're comparing stock market to anything. It literally does not matter. If it's traded by humans, the fractal of human emotion will be the same on all time frames. And so that is why you can compare Ethereum to the S&P 500 and find a lot of useful information about their cycles. Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin is a very interesting comparison as well, and I think that Bitcoin is likely to see further continuation on the upside. This is an inverted chart, so it looks like it's going down, but really that means that it's going up in value. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you understand that I got a little shook out on that candle. Sometimes you have to compare different things and look at the market and reconfigure your analysis. In this specific situation, there is totally a potential for a bigger correction, but right now I see the bulls are much probably in favor here. And I think that once we head up towards that resistance and we break up above it, it'll blow people away just how much the bears can be shaken out, because this is basically just a huge bear trap. And so when we break above that resistance, it's going to blow people away how many people got liquidated thinking the world was going to end. Yes, this was a big crash. Yes, I will personally consider this a mini recession similar to 2003 and 2008, but I don't think this is the end of the big cycle like I originally thought. So that's my updated analysis for you guys. I really appreciate you tuning in today's video. Make sure that you like it as well as sharing with your friends. I'll try to hit 150 likes on this video. So if you guys can make sure that we get that goal, that would be super awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. So much support on my Twitter, so much support on my YouTube channel. Keeps me excited, keeps me ready to post even when I normally wouldn't. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's analysis and perspective on the markets. I will catch you in the podcast, probably uploaded either tomorrow or Sunday. As always, stay profitable out there.